Sophie Cunningham was targeted, y'all. I'm telling you right now, Sophie Cunningham was targeted by Bria Hartley, and it just is what it is. It is what it is. I don't want to sit here and play games and act like, you know, she wasn't. She was targeted by Bria Hartley, and that's just the fact of the matter. And people can act like it's not all they want. I told you guys this girl was a dirty player, and that's all she did today was show how dirty she is.
It was a routine basketball play that turned into a nightmare in a split second. A drive to the basket, a collision of bodies, and a star player crumpling to the floor in agony. But this was no ordinary injury. This moment, captured under the blinding arena lights, would ignite a firestorm of controversy, expose a player's dark reputation, and test the very soul of a team on the brink of collapse.
This picture is going viral with Bria Hartley with the sinister grin, right? This malevolent look that's on her face right now, clearly smiling after injuring Sophie Cunningham, man.
The league was left scrambling. Fans were screaming for justice, and one single, captured smirk would change the entire narrative from a tragic accident to something far more sinister. Before we get into the shocking details that have the entire sports world talking, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. This story is still developing, and you won't want to miss what happens next. The second quarter was ticking away, just another possession in a hard-fought game. Bria Hartley drove hard toward the basket, pushing through traffic, her momentum carrying her forward. But then, her path collided not with the ball, but with the planted leg of Sophie Cunningham. The impact was brutal and awkward, a direct hit to Cunningham's knee.
That's like she tries to slide over right there, and Hartley just kind of falls and makes collision with that lower leg. You see her immediately grab it. And she went down hard and was clearly in a lot of pain.
It wasn't a basketball play anymore. It was a body check. The sound might not have been picked up by the microphones, but the reaction told the whole story. Cunningham's hands immediately flew to her knee, her face contorted in a mask of pure, undiluted pain. She collapsed onto the hardwood, a player known for her incredible toughness, now completely broken by the force of the collision. She tried to sit up, a wave of nausea and agony washing over her, and then went down again, utterly helpless. The game stopped. The crowd fell silent. Trainers rushed onto the court, their urgent strides echoing the panic everyone felt. They helped her to her feet, but she couldn't put weight on the leg, leaning heavily on their shoulders as she was escorted back to the locker room.
Oh, and Cunningham is down. My goodness. Should be. In a scary moment as we went to commercial, Sophie Cunningham hit the floor hard and she is being helped off the floor, heading back to the locker.
Her season potentially flashing before her eyes. The initial diagnosis was grim, and she was ruled out for the rest of the night. But the real controversy was just beginning, because as Sophie Cunningham limped off the court, facing an uncertain future, the cameras did what they always do. They searched for a reaction, and what they found on the face of Bria Hartley would send shockwaves across the internet. It wasn't concern. It wasn't remorse. It was a smirk. A grin that spread across her face as she watched her opponent being helped away.
Indiana Fever fans wake up pissed off today. Pissed off. Not only are we getting assaulted, but they're smiling about it. This is the 6th time they've smiled, laughed, and cheered on our Indiana Fever players getting assaulted, getting injured. And it pisses me off.
That single image, broadcast in real time and clipped for social media within seconds, became the catalyst for an unstoppable outrage. To fans watching, it wasn't just a bad look, it was a confession. It looked like she was laughing at the pain she had just caused. This wasn't adrenaline or a misunderstood moment. To the world, it was a smile of a villain caught in the act. That grin turned suspicious collision into what many believed was a deliberate act of violence, and gave everyone the evidence they felt they needed to condemn her.
Making all kind of excuses to say that Bria Hartley is not a dirty player. Let me tell y'all something, man. Come on in here. Come on in here, man. Let me tell y'all something. If it quacks like a duck, walks like a duck, eats like a duck, it's a duck, man. Come on, man. She is the dirtiest player in the WNBA right now, winning the trophy. All right, winning the trophy for it. Don't sit here and try to tell me Bria Hartley is not a dirty.
The outrage was instant, and it was furious. Social media platforms exploded. Fans weren't just upset, they were disgusted. They blasted the play as dirty. They criticized the officiating crew for not even reviewing the incident, and they accused the league of failing its number one job, protecting its stars. But the anger wasn't confined to anonymous accounts online. Sophie Cunningham's own family entered the fray, adding a deeply personal layer to the public fury. Her sister, Lindsay, pointed a finger directly at the league's inconsistent officiating, suggesting the WNBA is quicker to fine players for speaking out than it is to correct its own mistakes on the court.
Bria Hartley deserves zero benefit of the doubt. And Sophie Cunningham's family not too happy.
Her mother, Paula, went even further, making a now-deleted post that personally accused Bria Hartley of being out of control and dangerous. The message was clear. This wasn't just a game to them. This was their daughter and sister, and they believed she had been targeted with no protection from the authorities who were supposed to keep her safe. The court of public opinion had reached a verdict, and it was overwhelmingly against Hartley. But why did so many people jump to that conclusion so quickly? The answer lies in a history that fans were all too eager to dig up. This incident wasn't viewed in a vacuum. It was seen as the latest chapter in a long and growing reputation for Bria Hartley.
Look, you can tell Bria Hartley, in my opinion, she launched herself into her knee. She did. And I've seen some of the reaction online, and guys, it's despicable. It really is. There's a lot of people celebrating this injury. And guess what? You can imagine who it is. It's members of the old WNBA fandom, the ones that root for Paige Beckers and Angel Reese and Asia Wilson and all the usual damn suspects.
They pointed to a highlight reel of previous controversies that painted a very clear picture. Earlier this same season, she was caught on camera in a blatant act, yanking the hair of Chicago Sky rookie phenom Angel Reese during a rebound battle, a move that sparked a heated scuffle between both teams. In another game, she was ejected after a reckless and physical scuffle with veteran Rebecca Allen. There were reported dust-ups with other stars like Skylar Diggins-Smith. Individually, any player can have a moment of lost composure. But strung together, these incidents created a powerful narrative of a player who consistently crosses a line, a repeat offender who plays with a reckless disregard for the safety of her opponents.
Atkins, 7 to shoot. Cardoso rolls, catch. Cardoso over the top, can't get it. Reese fights for the rebound, and a foul, and this time gets a little chippy, and a shove on Nelson Adota. And listen, this arena, typically we'll see some ringside fights, and Charles this time trying to fight through the official, points a long finger. And as both teams walk to their respective corner.
But we mentioned the physicality and that last possession, the contact being let go. This time, I think it was accidental by Hartley. And then Reese just with a big reaction. And Tina Charles, being the vet that she is, going to stick up for her team. If you know anything about Angel Reese, she is going to go hard. She's tough. She cares about making a stand for her team. And I love the reaction from Tina Charles as a vet. You want to see your...
When the world saw that smirk after the Cunningham injury, they didn't see an isolated incident. They saw a pattern finally and horrifyingly confirmed. The fallout was immediate and severe. Analysts and sports outlets began weighing in, connecting the dots between Hartley's past and this latest collision. The word suspension started trending. The conversation was no longer about a single foul. It was about accountability.
This is Bria Hartley right here, grinning from ear to ear with Sophie Cunningham smiling. I mean, that's despicable, folks. There's no other way to look at it. Yeah, how about this right here? That chick grinning after Caitlin Clark got slammed to the ground. And then this chick. I mean, really?
There was a growing consensus that previous incidents had gone unpunished, or at least underpunished, creating an environment where a player could feel emboldened to play with a dangerous edge without fear of real consequences. The perceived lack of accountability from the league is what made that smirk cut so deep. It wasn't just about the injury. It was the appearance that the player responsible didn't care, and that the system designed to police this behavior had failed yet again. Fans and pundits alike began demanding action, a full investigation, a multi-game suspension, anything to send a message that this kind of play and this kind of reaction would not be tolerated. The pressure was now squarely on the WNBA to respond.
Sophie Cunningham, let's be clear here. Sophie Cunningham was targeted. Let's be very, very clear here. But Sophie Cunningham was flat out targeted by a dirty.
Meanwhile, back on the court, the game had to go on. For the Indiana Fever, the situation looked utterly hopeless. They were already decimated by injuries. Superstar Caitlin Clark was out with a personal matter. Key players like Aaron McDonald and Christy Wallace were already ruled out for the entire season. Losing Sophie Cunningham, the heart and soul of their defensive toughness and a vocal leader, felt like the final crushing blow. They were staring at a 21-point deficit in the third quarter against one of the best and most physical teams in the league. The season, for all intents and purposes, seemed over. Their playoff hopes were flashing before their eyes. But something incredible happened in that moment of absolute despair. Instead of folding, the Fever chose to fight. They flipped the script in the most spectacular fashion, mounting what would become the largest comeback in the entire history of the Indiana Fever franchise. The architect of this miracle was Kelsey Mitchell.
Dassin! Kelsey Mitchell! Every game is a home game! Listen to the crowd in Connecticut. Final score in overtime. Fever 99, Sun 93. And Indiana completes the greatest comeback in franchise history.
At halftime, she had been quiet, held to just 4 points. What followed was one of the most explosive and legendary performances in recent WNBA history. She caught absolute fire. In the second half and overtime, Mitchell was simply unguardable. She poured in 34 points, finishing the game with a career-high tying 38 points. She was ruthless, efficient, and utterly clutch, shooting 11 of 22 from the field, drilling 5 of 8 from the three-point line, and hitting 11 of 12 from the free throw line.
An assassin, Kelsey Mitchell, has a new career high. Backdoor Mitchell, bouncing in the paint for two. Kelsey Mitchell, the big is matched up. Mitchell squeezing through for two at the foul. Fouls on the other end. It's Mitchell launching it and connecting.
Every time Connecticut tried to land a knockout blow, Mitchell answered. And in overtime, she personally took over, scoring the Fever's first 10 points herself, including back-to-back daggers from beyond the arc that sucked the life out of the Sun and injected belief into her teammates. She wasn't just playing, she was putting on a masterclass, proving she is one of the most lethal scorers on the planet. But she didn't do it alone. Aaliyah Boston was a monster in the paint, anchoring the defense and controlling the glass against a formidable front line.
It's another double-double for Aaliyah Boston. Boston will fire a three. It's in. Goes to the putback. Push the foul.
Oh, look at Boston just muscle her way into Charles and lay it in.
Boston deep position. Boston pretty spin. Back to Boston. Who ties the game?
Boston now with her 15th double-double of the year. That's a new Fever franchise record.
She posted a critical double-double with 14 points and 13 rebounds, adding 5 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. Her composure and strength inside provided the perfect balance to Mitchell's perimeter fireworks. Odyssey Sims stepped up in the massive absence of the team's primary ball handlers, scoring 19 points and dishing out 7 assists, orchestrating the offense with the poise of a seasoned veteran. And then came the dagger from an unexpected hero. With the game on the line in overtime, Lexi Hull, whose stat line wouldn't normally stand out, rose up without hesitation and drilled a massive three-pointer from the corner. That shot was a final nail in the coffin. The moment everyone on the Fever bench knew they had pulled off the impossible. It was a complete, resilient, and historic team victory forged in the face of unbelievable adversity. When the final buzzer sounded, the real story was told not on the scoreboard, but in the locker room. The emotional weight of what they had just overcome came pouring out. Head coach Stephanie White, her voice thick with emotion, addressed her team. She didn't just talk about the win. She talked about their character. She told them this proved they would never be counted out, that the resilience they showed was worth its weight in gold. That sentiment was echoed from afar. Even while away, Caitlin Clark was watching, tweeting out a simple but powerful message. Battled, 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 so proud. And from the locker room herself, Sophie Cunningham, despite her own painful and uncertain situation, took to social media to celebrate her teammate, writing, Kelsey freaking Mitchell. In that moment, she chose pride for her team over self-pity, a testament to the unity that defines this group. They were celebrating together, even when they were apart, bonded by a refusal to quit that transcended any single player. The air in Mohegan Sun Arena hung thick with a palpable tension that went far beyond the scoreboard. On the floor, Indiana Fever star Sophie Cunningham writhed in agony, clutching her right knee after a chaotic collision with Connecticut Sun guard Bria Hartley. For a franchise already decimated by injuries, including the absence of superstar Caitlin Clark, this felt like a final, cruel blow. The sight of Cunningham, the team's emotional heartbeat and defensive anchor, being helped to the locker room was a narrative every athlete fears. A season of promise crumbling in an instant under the weight of a single, devastating play. The initial replay was brutal to watch. Hartley, driving hard and off balance, passed the ball before her momentum carried her directly into Cunningham's planted leg. The angle of impact was sickening, a violent twist that immediately sparked concern for stability of the knee. But the physical aftermath was only the beginning. In the digital age, narrative is everything, and it can be forged in seconds. A single frame, grabbed from a broadcast and unleashed on social media, captured Hartley's face in the immediate aftermath. To thousands of furious viewers, it wasn't a wince of shared pain or a grimace of frustration. It was a smirk, a villainous, cold-hearted grin that seemed to celebrate the carnage. That pixelated image became the catalyst for an inferno of outrage, transforming a controversial basketball play into a morality play about intent, malice, and the very soul of the league. This perceived act of cruelty became the dark fuel for one of the most incredible turnarounds in WNBA history. Staring down a 21-point deficit, without their spiritual leader, the Fever could have folded. The season was already on life support. Instead, they tapped into a reservoir of collective resolve nobody knew they had. This was no longer just a game. It was a statement. It was a refusal to be defined by victimhood. It was all orchestrated by the breathtaking brilliance of Kelsey Mitchell. What followed was a second-half performance for the ages, a display of sheer willpower that etched itself into league legend. Mitchell wasn't just scoring. She was weaponizing her grief and frustration, channeling the collective anger of her team into a breathtaking offensive barrage. Every step-back three, every fearless drive into a thicket of defenders was a defiant answer to chaos. She finished with season-high 38 points, 34 of them coming after halftime and in overtime, surgically dismantling the Suns' defense, and officially breaking a franchise record. But this was more than a one-woman show. It was the embodiment of a team refusing to let its spirit be broken. Aaliyah Boston battled ferociously inside for a double-double, while Odyssey Sims provided veteran poise and crucial buckets. Their historic comeback win was a testament to the unbreakable bonds forged in adversity, a powerful reminder that the heart of a team is often revealed not when things are easy, but when everything seems lost. Yet, even in the euphoric aftermath of such a staggering victory, the thorny, uncomfortable questions refused to be silenced. The incident ripped open a long festering wound within the WNBA community regarding player safety and the league's consistency in managing on-court physicality. The conversation immediately fractured into entrenched camps. One side saw a reckless, out-of-control player with a history of contentious incidents whose actions, intentional or not, demanded severe disciplinary action to set a precedent. They pointed to a pattern of behavior that could no longer be ignored, arguing that the absence of malice does not absolve the consequences of dangerous play. The other side heard analysis from voices like ESPN's Rachel Demita, who characterized the collision as a tragic, unintentional accident, a byproduct of the game's speed and intensity rather than a premeditated act. This division underscores the immense difficulty the league faces in navigating the gray area between competitive physicality and reckless endangerment. It's a line that players, coaches, and officials walk every night. But when a star player has lost a season, the debate erupts with renewed fury. The fallout from this single moment exposes a critical pressure point. for the WNBA's leadership. Fans and analysts are not just asking for suspension. They are demanding a comprehensive reevaluation of the league's officiating standards and its disciplinary framework. There is a growing perception that the current system is too reactive, too inconsistent, and fails to adequately deter the kind of plays that lead to catastrophic injuries. The question becomes whether the league's policies are robust enough to protect its athletes while preserving the intense, competitive fire that makes the game so compelling. Can the WNBA implement a more transparent review process for dangerous plays? Should it consider stiffer penalties for players with repeat histories of involved incidents, regardless of proven intent? This incident has become a lightning rod, compelling the league to look in the mirror and decide what kind of product it wants to present to the world. It's about proving to a rapidly growing fan base that the safety of the players, the incredible athletes who are the lifeblood of the sport, is the non-negotiable top priority. In the end, the story of that night in Connecticut is a tale of two parallel truths. One is a beautiful story of resilience, a shocking athletic triumph that will be replayed in highlight reels for decades. The other is a sobering, complex drama about the darker side of competition, the perils of instant judgment, and the arduous quest for accountability. The Fever's locker room after the game was filled with tears of joy and emotional embraces, a sacred space where a group of athletes discovered their true character. Yet, outside that room, the controversy raged on, a firestorm of debate that speaks of the passion and the problems that the WNBA must harness and solve. Kelsey Mitchell's 38 points provided a temporary answer on the scoreboard, but the larger questions about justice, safety, and the future of the league remain unresolved. The victory was a testament to the human spirit, but the injury and its aftermath are a stark reminder that the league's journey toward maturity and consistent integrity is still very much a work in progress. This moment, in all its ugly complexity, is not an endpoint. It is a crossroads. So, what do you think? Does Bria Hartley's history, combined with her reaction, warrant a significant suspension from the league? Or was this a tragic basketball play amplified by the heat of the moment and the relentless eye of the camera? How can the WNBA better walk the tightrope between promoting a physical product and unequivocally protecting its athletes from serious injury? The debate is raging, and everyone has an opinion. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Who was right? Who was wrong? And what should happen next? If you found this deep dive into the drama and triumph gripping the WNBA as fascinating as we did, make sure to hit that like button. It really helps the channel. And subscribe and turn on all notifications so you never miss out on our next breakdown of the biggest stories in sports. Thanks for watching.